Hello, welcome back to BSLIVE. In this episode, I want to share this breakdown on how I created this donut with a kind of like a bunch of tentacles or something's like maybe a little bit like jellyfish or like braided hair. So it's involving geometry nodes and hair curve. And what's the magic here? Geometry nodes is doing something into the curve, but the curve itself is a bake. It's an alembic that has been baked from hair. Alright, so I will show you the whole process. So I'm gonna start with new blend files, delete everything, select all, delete all, and I will be using a torus donut just to make it a little bit more interesting. We can set this up just a little bit. Fat donut, just right click, shade smooth. Save this very quickly. Donut with maybe like a seaweed. You can think of this like a sea creatures. And what's the thing with the new hair curves in Blender 3.2 is that we can easily attach curve into any surface that we assign this curve into. Okay, and we have the tools to do that. In the past, we need to use hair particle simulations, etc. This time, you can actually just simply grow and shrink curve. Okay, so this is our whatever, maybe like sea creatures with I don't know, it could be like a starfish. So right, so we have this, and we can actually use geometry nodes on this guy, but let's comb this a little bit. You can comb and reshape it. You can also use this grow and shrink. Grow and shrink is handy. You can shrink it if you use control. Okay, so it's just adding some randomness. My favorite is of course the snake hook. We tried this before. You can just paint and draw the snake, you know, like the snake brush. Anyhow, so this is cool, but we want to have some simulations. So select our torus objects, or actually select our curve. F3, convert curve to particle system. Okay, now we can hide the original curve. File, save as. Gonna save it to new blend. We should have simulations, but I want to animate the donuts first. So I'm gonna rotate the donuts randomly. Probably a little bit too fast, but I'll just keep it like that. 150 frames. The hair is not moving yet, but if we look at the hair curve and if we turn on the hair dynamics, we should have some simulations. And also I will turn on the collisions on the donuts, so the hair will collide with the base. So we should have simulations of the hair. Okay, cool. Very simple, but it's also pretty cool. We can perhaps randomize this a little bit. Structure, let's increase the stiffness, have some randomizations. Pin goal strings, I don't know, I think I'm just gonna increase that. Okay, cool. Let's just export the whole thing as Alembic just to show you. It's gonna take a while because it's doing the bake while exporting. 150 frames. We actually have plenty of hair here. You can actually use like just a few hairs, and then that's gonna be a lot simpler, and you can in the end have like a bake mesh curve that you can use to drive something else, maybe even like a bones. In this case we actually have a lot of curve hair. Okay, 67 megabyte, so it's quite large, but you see it's instantly being loaded into Blender. So this is a bake hair. We have the original donut that's been animated. It's still animated because it's using this cache, geometry cache somewhere. There we go, transform cache. The hair is using mesh sequence cache. So we can scrub now because it's no longer dynamics. It's just like bake curve. So if you look into, if we use geometry nodes on top of this scrub, we still have it. We can turn this mesh into curve and then curve back into mesh. We can resample in between. Let's use this curve to mesh. If we use circle, okay, you know this is you know the drill. It's becoming like a just like a normal curve that's being swept. So this is cool. You can feel the caps. So this is one way you can use this, but maybe you want to also like doing like instancing. Maybe you want to have like a ring along the curve. So let's do that. So we can resample, let's see, resample, mesh the curve, resample based on the length maybe, and then instance on points. So we have curve that has been resampled, and now we can use another circle. We're gonna fill this curve and use this as instance. Let's join this. Oh, okay. So we have our circle. Currently, it's a little bit large and it doesn't follow the curve. So we need to use the tangent. Use the curve tangent and align the curve. Use the alignment of the tangent. Plug this into the vector, and then the output is gonna go into instance rotations. I align it on the z-axis. So now we have circle along the curve. Okay, so it's quite nice. It's almost like a jellyfish. If you just if you want to do the instancings only on the end of the curve, you can do that as well. Let's use an icosphere, and we're gonna use the same setup with the same alignment. Okay, but this time we want to use the endpoints. Plug this into selections. So So something like that. So we actually have a lot of curve here. That's why it seems like pretty heavy. So now, okay, we have the balls there at the ends of the curve, and everything still works. Yeah, I think it's quite pretty like that. It feels organic, except for the donut itself. It's a little bit too solid, but you can do something on the donuts as well. Just randomize it or something. Geometry nodes. Just Musgrave maybe. Position. Or just use noise. Oh yeah, anyway, it's just, you don't need to do this. We're just gonna focus on the curve. So yeah, that's pretty much what I want to show you. It's basically exporting hair dynamics as Alembic. So back into Blender, new files. You have lots of curves here, like maybe over 100. Ideally, we can use this bake curve as a driver for maybe something like bones. Okay, so I haven't done that yet, but I might do that, because this guy over here, if we get rid of the geometry nodes, this is a curve, but you can also use I believe skin modifier if you really want to. This guy, okay, this guy still comes back into Blender as a curve actually, which is interesting. Normally it's just gonna be like a mesh. So, but if you convert this into mesh, then this guy can be like we can use a skin modifier, and this is really powerful. You see, yeah, as a skin modifier, you can then create armature, and it's gonna be like bones all along. You're gonna end up with like thousands of bones, but you got the idea. It's the whole process to turn hair simulations so it's becoming like a bones, and maybe at the moment it's still not optimized, but still it's still pretty fast. So if these bones can actually drive if our curve can drive the bones, and the bones can drive 3D mesh geometry, then you can actually bake it out. Alright, so yeah, hopefully this is clear. In the future I will try bones and maybe spline IK being controlling the whole things. I don't know, maybe in the near future we have like geometry nodes that's function more like a bones, more or less. Alright, so thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.